What's up, everybody? It's Big Rich with Creative Solutions, the Richard Pierce Group. And today, y'all get a special surprise. We got all three Pierces on today. So, you got Richard Sr., Big Rich, and Jeremiah. Now, Jeremiah and I are brothers. If you're listening to CS, you've heard us talk about him a little bit. And we thought it would just be a cool idea to jump together and just talk. Man, what does real estate look like when you have a family doing this thing, right? Even just jumping in, Jeremiah, me and you have basically been inadvertently raised in real estate for, I don't know what, you've been doing for 18 years, Dad. So 18 years, you've been subtly hinting and nudging and teaching and pushing us to jump into this real estate business with you. But do you think there was ever a reason you did that, Pops? Or you think it was just you were doing it and you just realized it worked for you and maybe it worked for us? Or, what was your idea behind all that?
Well, okay, so here, if we start back from when you guys were young, when I first got married, um, for a while I had worked at a ministry in Kentucky. Then we moved to Ohio. You guys were still in diapers, and it was just you two. And I made a decision. I watched my dad work at a factory. I watched him sell cars, and I watched how his time. He worked really hard and didn't have a lot of time with us. So what I chose to do was to go into businesses or into making money in ways that I could have you guys with me. So the first things I did was we did lawn care, we did hauling jobs, we did,
Yep.
we bought dumpsters and we dropped dumpsters. And, as the business evolved, we bought houses. Then you guys would be able to be with me at the properties, or when we dealt with tenants, you guys were involved. And it was kind of like we all worked together. Then when we come into real estate, with real estate, a lot of times you guys could go with me, but when you're dealing with clients, it's a little more difficult when you bring your children along. And certainly
Absolutely.
you guys did come, but you'd get bored. You didn't really want to be there. And and then you guys went off to college. You did that part of your life. And again, we were kind of separated at that point. And Cherish and your sister, I worked a lot. I beat I just worked as hard as I could and grind it out.
Yep.
So come full circle, you guys move back into Ohio, you come back home, and it's like we can reconnect and run the business together and be as part of the family. I don't know if that answers your question a little bit. So what I'm trying to say though, it wasn't really like it was planned.
Yeah,
I just like being with you guys all the time. So
absolutely.
anything I can do, make money and still be around family, that's what I'm choosing.
Yeah, the cool part is I didn't even think about it until you said it, but so all of us in some way, shape, or form are on real estate now. Cherish and her husband are doing the property management for the Richard Pierce Group, and then Jeremiah and I are agents in real estate. And so it is pretty cool seeing how we were raised in helping with, like you said, the lawn care and the dumpsters, helping your kid. But then, when we got into flips, there was a little more that we could help with. And as we grew older, there's more that we could do when we were capable of actually being an open house. Like I still remember sometimes it was just coming to say hi because I could ride my bike to see you. But like going to see you at a couple of your open houses and different things
Right.
like that. And it's pretty cool looking back and seeing like, wow, that's kind of where everything started was 18 years ago. You got your license and you kind of did it just to try something extra, right? And for people who've heard the story, this is before mom had that little conversation of, I just need you to pick one thing and just do it and stop doing everything kind of conversation.
Right.
And we see it coming full circle. So last year, Jeremiah and I, man, I think it was March, but like February, March, we ended up getting our license at pretty much the exact same time. And it's been a heck of a ride since, honestly. Jeremiah, what's your experience been, obviously with family, but just in real estate in general? What's the experience felt like for the past year and a half?
I think real estate in general gave me the time to be with my wife, who, when I started this, was 22 or 21. Am I frozen?
No, you're good.
Oh, I'm
You look
frozen.
good.
My screen's frozen. Okay, I'll just keep
Keep it
talking.
up. You're good. Don't worry about
Uh, I
it.
think the one thing that was important for myself and my wife is that the Pierces, we went through a lot in the last 3 years with some important people passing away. And I think at the time I was a painter. So I was painting houses. And I would be painting so much that I wouldn't have time for my wife, or I'd come home and I'd really just want to go to bed, or if I came home, I wouldn't talk because I was done. I was in the heat all day. But my wife pretty much kind of gave me it. I don't know the correct word for it, but she said, "Well, you know, if you go into real estate, I feel like you're going to be able to spend more time with us. You'll be able to make more money." And so that's why the jump I made. And the second I made it, I quit painting. I enjoyed painting, but I quit it, and I jumped right into real estate. And I think, you know, it's been a real blessing to us and our family. And, you know, in 1 year, I think, you know, almost 2 years now, me and Big Rich have definitely, we've done a lot of real estate in the last 2 years, and I'm expecting us to at least double or triple every year from here on out.
Absolutely. And you know, the cool part is obviously real estate had a lot of great opportunities. That's why we chose to join. That's why a lot of people, I think, choose to do real estate. It opens up opportunities for wealth and financial growth. It opens up opportunity for relationships, opens up opportunities that you could get other ways, but this is just how some of us choose to operate and some of us choose to do this thing. And I think, you know, obviously we chose real estate because it's good, but I think heavy influence of doing real estate was because, you know, dad being a part of this thing already, right? It's cool because, you know, we are a faith-filled family, right? We believe in the Bible, and in the Bible they talk about how, you know, the parents, they're like the foundation, and you guys are starting things and setting things in motion that then us as children, we get to come after you and build off of that, right? So it's almost like, well, if dad's put in 18 years worth of work, why would me and you go start something completely different, have no knowledge, understanding, or experience in it, and have to go try to figure it out when, like, we can learn from you, dad, we can be around you. And not like right now it's a little different with dad being in Florida, right? The game has changed a little bit for the family, but it's all good. But, you know, especially when dad's home though, when he is in Ohio, how many times do you just, I mean, it's normal for us to walk into the office, and it's normal for us to see him, and every day we would see each other. I mean, every single day I would see Jeremiah, I would see dad, I would see your wife, my wife, we'd see the Cherish and Aaron. It's just when we're all together like that, it makes it so much more fun, more bearable, right? Because there's a lot of things that we deal with in real estate that are not fun, let's say, right? But it is a lot of fun. I think we enjoy doing this business together. We enjoy seeing each other a lot. And it helps us sharpen ourselves too. So, you know, we can kind of speak to this really well with our family, right? But we are pretty blunt with each other when it comes to business. And so we are very good at communicating and saying, this is great, you did this good, or hey, you failed. Like, you got to change this up. You did not do this in a great fashion. Hey, you're not thinking right about this problem. Jeremiah had a situation just the other day with an agent, and there was just some communication was not as good as you would have honestly hoped for in a deal. And Jeremiah was explaining this to me and dad. We were actually we were at birthday dinner for Jeremiah. Talking about business. We do that a lot. Our wives don't like how much we talk about business, but he was just kind of venting a little bit about it, kind of trying to deal with it. And even in the moment, you know, I'm sitting there like, yeah, this is stupid. And I hate that too. And dad's like, well, I do too, but you can't think about it like that. You got to think about it like this. And hey, maybe this is the situation. Maybe that's the situation. How can you take what's happening and create something positive out of it? You know, I think that's the coolest part about doing this with the family is it's not just some other peer, you know. Hey, I don't think you guys have, but are either of you trying to take business from me? I'd say no. I'm not trying to take business from either of you. And that's why working with the family does make it pretty cool. We can be open and honest and work together. Shoot.
Go ahead.
I saw you about to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, I think a lot of people in real estate, and this is just coming from my experience of 2 years. If I've been in this 2 years and I notice this, it's probably a big thing. A lot of realtors, either on the same team or the same brokerage or even in the same city, real estate is not one of those businesses. Real estate is one of those businesses where you have to find the people you enjoy working with. A lot of people, real estate's a backstabbing business. the easiest way to put it.
It feels
But
like that at
it
least.
feels like it's
Yeah,
a
it feels
backstep.
like it.
But I think, with family, I can go on vacation and say, Nathan, take care of this client, and this client. And when I come back, know that if they bought a house or if they're in contract, I'm still there with them. I think a lot of realtors can't take the time off because they're scared to lose the business. But personally, in my business, the more time I spend with my wife, the more time I spend at home, the more time I spend with God, the more my business is going to be blessed. And I've had a really good year, and I think it really just comes down to, and there's some stressful moments, but most of the time I'm just able to be with my wife, get the deals closed, and just be the positive influence in the business. I think that's another big thing that as Pierces we've realized is whether you're in the right, whether you're in the wrong, whether you don't know what's going on, as long as you're the positive person, if your texts look positive, if your phone calls are positive, there's always going to be a positive outlook. And 99% of the time, any deal can just be fixed with positivity.
Well, the other thing is too, is that when you treat people with respect and you understand that, and this is the thing, and I've watched a lot of realtors, we have issues. Sometimes we have to work through, whether it's inspections, negotiations, closings, occupancy, sometimes it's simple things, sometimes it's complicated, but when we treat that person as the Lord would want us to treat them, and I know we're bringing in the Lord and, some biblical stuff here, and that may offend some people, and I'm sorry if it does. We understand that's your decision. But if we treat people how the Lord wants us to treat them, with honor and respect and just being a genuine, like, let's work the deal out, we understand there's going to be conflict. That's the nature of life. If you don't want conflict, then, you're not going to be living a life, because all of life is conflict. So, but the nice thing is, we find that if we treat people with respect, we at least feel like we've honored them, whether we get what we need out of this situation or not. The other thing is, as family, Jeremiah send me text every day or every few days. Do you have a client for this property? So we continually buffet each other, before the phone call here right now. Me and Big Rich was talking about a situation. I'm like, send the text now, They come to me sometimes and say, hey, did we get this client taken care of? So we're always working together. And I think that's another thing, like, we don't get offended at each other. So if Jeremiah tells me I'm doing something wrong, I do not get offended. I appreciate the fact that somebody's telling me, like, hey, you need to pay attention to what's going on in this situation. And I feel like we do that for each other a lot, especially with our family. The other thing is, if I'm helping people make money, do I want to help somebody else make 6-7 figures, or would I rather that be my family? If my family doesn't want to be with me making 6 or 7 figures, I'm happy to help somebody else make that money, but I would first prefer it to be you guys.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I think we have
it is
good moments. We have really funny moments, obviously, as a family. We recognize that everybody doesn't always have that kind of family aspect, but our family,
right.
we tend to try to make the best out of every situation. Normally, even the serious, upsetting ones end in laughing about something stupid. And that's what makes it enjoyable. I think that makes the real estate business and profession something that we want to keep doing. And, we want to help others become better at the real estate, right? We want others to be successful with their families. And we recognize you're not all going to be like, all right, let me get my kids to be real estate agents. Like, that's not what we're saying. That's not why we're saying that. But if we can help bring even that sense of family to people, we have other people on our team that we are close to, and maybe not like going out to eat every day kind of thing, but we have people on that team that we care about, that care about us. And, all three of us are absolutely 100% there to support them. And we all bring something different to the table. Even just the three of us sitting here, we all bring some very different aspects of real estate and marketing to the table that the other ones don't. But as we are each teaching each other how to do it, or doing things for each other to help build these things up, right? Those kind of things just make us better agents. It makes us better, like stronger family ties, even honestly.
Mhm.
How many other people get to say that the women and the men all in the family work together in the
Mhm.
same business? Like that's not a normal situation.
Right.
Right.
And it makes it a lot of fun. But like,
It is.
dad has all the experience, guys. Like a lot of the experience you hear, even me talking about, right? I'm hearing this from firsthand from Richard Sr. When me and Jemiah have situations, the first person would be, other than manager, would be Richard Sr. that we're going to see what he thinks and how we should handle it. And a lot of times it's an attitude correction. As young guys, we're a little hot headed sometimes and don't threaten me and don't get in my way. And hey, it's part of it. That's why we go to Richard Sr. before we make some comments or make some things happen. And he's able to put it into perspective. Whereas Jeremiah is really, really good about handling his clients and guiding them in a strong manner and helping them make the best decision for themselves, for their families, for their
Right.
futures. Also taking care of other agents, right? Dad is more of a, hey, let's find a peaceful solution. Like, let's do it this way. Jeremiah is a little more of the, hey, I'm going to do it. You're on or you're not. We're going to get this done. And both are great in their respective areas, their respective deals. Because guess what? You actually need to be both of those depending on what we're working on. There are a lot of times that it is a peaceful solution that is needed, but there are also sometimes you better fight for your client and make sure, nope,
Right.
this is what was in the contract and this is what was said and this is what we're doing because this is the rules, the law, right? And that's what happens. And then, on my side, it's a lot of the marketing, it's the videos, it's the how can we make ourselves more apparent to the people out there? How can we show people who we are and how good we are? And we've got the Pierce
Right.
name, we've got Richard Sr. who's been doing it forever. Now let's build the whole thing up. And it makes it so much fun. I mean, I absolutely love doing real estate with my family. I get to talk to you guys all the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and granted, it's a lot about work, but I think Dad, you're actually the one who said it. One time we were having a conversation and I kind of made that joke earlier. Like sometimes our wives don't like how much we talk about work. But you made the point, Dad, you were like, I would rather spend 80% of my time talking about work with my family and 20% of the time just being a family than have no time as a family. And
Right.
when we talk, it's aggravated and harsh and it's not a family aspect. Can you
Well,
expand
here's
on
the
that just a
thing.
little bit?
Yeah, because most people, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, most people work 10-hour, 8-hour days, right?
Mhm.
Or 10-hour days, and they're spending it with people that are not family. So they're winning with people that aren't even family. So what happens is they'll go to a job, they'll be in a situation, they'll accomplish what they're supposed to do for the day, whether they're on the line at a factory or whether they're an attorney, handling cases and dealing with paralegals. The nice thing with us is we do business and we build relationship with family, which matters. And I think that's huge. And that's, I know it shouldn't always be about business. I get that. We totally understand that. But at the same time, if I'm going to be working out solutions and situations, I want to do it with my family, people I love. Now, like you said earlier, we do have other people on the team and we have conversations with them and I think of them as family. Obviously, they're not blood family, but I think of the other people on our team and we all know we have a very strong family dynamic feeling on our team. We protect each other. Like you guys will protect the women agents when they're going out for showings. You'll either be there if they need you or you'll drive by the property. You're there to assist them. We help each other with showings. We help each other. If somebody's got to know if they mess with one of us, they mess with all of us.
Yeah.
We want to protect each other. So I think we do a good job of that. I think we do. I hope we do.
I would imagine that they would say the same. And that's part of the thing, man.
Yeah.
Even from a team aspect, we are very family oriented. So even when there's a thought of maybe pulling some people on or building this team, we look at it real seriously. And it's not just a money making machine, right? There's some teams where that's what they do, and they're killing it. They're great,
And they're awesome.
yeah, they're awesome, and they are to the moon and back kind of people, and I love it. For us personally, we would prefer to have that family aspect. And guess what? Like you said, I would rather win with my family than win with people I don't know. And the cool part is, man, Jeremiah and I are only 2 years into it. We're not even 2 years into this thing. And you know, there are definitely other guys that are just as far down the road in real estate that are doing more than us, just solely based on where they're living and different things like that. But man, for who we are, for where we're at, for the markets that we are involved in, I would say we would put up a heck of a fight to anybody else because of the fact that we have each other to lean on, right? I've got Jeremiah to lean on. I'm softer when it comes to things. Behind the door, I'm pissed and I'm fiery, but when I get on the phone to talk to you, I'm like, yeah, let's see how we can handle this. And so sometimes I need Jeremiah to be like, dude, shut up and open your freaking mouth and say something. Like, we support each other. We work hard.
Yeah.
But I think that our family, our team, right, even the others on the Richard Pierce group, man, we are a force to be reckoned with. And it's so much fun getting to do just life with y'all. Like, that's the best part, is doing life with my dad and my brother, right? I spent a few years out of state away from all of my family, and it was good for the time that it was, but man, I would not trade the moments that we're having right now with the things that we're doing for anything. I absolutely love being a part of this thing with you guys. Like, that's what we're doing.
And you're right. I love working with Jeremiah's wife, Miranda. I love working with Jocelyn. I love working with Cherish and Aaron. So you're right. It's now come to where it is a full. So I guess what I would say too, if you're a realtor and you're watching this, or you've already been a realtor and you're like just clicking in to see what we're talking about, you can build a system as a realtor where your family can come in, where you can provide a nice income for everyone involved, and everyone earns their money. I don't treat Jeremiah any better than I treat Ashley, you know. In fact, I probably treat Ashley better, but sometimes I treat my other agents better, you know. But my point is, you can create this huge vision where everybody can plug in and everybody can be a part. And that's what I like about real estate. I like it that you can go out and sell. You can, and Jeremiah has a better personality, and with some people, I have a better personality with others. Richard Nathaniel sells to people that neither me nor Jeremiah would be able to even work with. You know, we just don't have that temperament. He meets people at the gym and does business with them. I don't even know where the gym's located. So, you know, I don't go to the gym. But yeah, we love it. It is a lot of fun. We love supporting each other and the community together. That's the other thing. When we come in to support something, everybody, I think, understands they're not just getting Big Rich. They're not just getting Jeremiah. They're getting Jocelyn. They're getting Miranda. They're getting Cherish. You know, we're all coming into this together. So if we come after something, we're all together in the family business, and we'll all support whatever we choose to support as a family. And I enjoy that.
Absolutely. Well, before we sign off, are there any, I can't think of any, but I want to ask, because if there are, I know they can be pretty funny, but can you guys think of any funny stories since the last 2 years, right? You know, that we have been involved in when it comes to real estate specifically? I actually can think of some, but I want to see if you guys have any that you're like, oh, I remember this happened one time and it was pretty funny.
I don't know if I really have a funny story. I definitely think I have some experiences with some deals where
I think a lot of the funniness actually comes from out of the 3 people on this call, I think 2 of us are talking about something and we're probably getting heated. And then the third steps in and it's just like something stupid. Or you point something out and the other 2 are like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. I think my favorite one, I think we're good, is there was a call that Jeremiah answered one time, and the day and the circumstances, I couldn't go take care of it. Jeremiah, something came up and the time got switched weird, so he couldn't make it. So Richard Sr. actually went to go show the property. When he showed up at the property, somehow seller's agent just happened to be there, and it was a little bit of a debacle. We ended up losing this client because of this situation. And all I remember is like, you 2 were talking about it in depth without me there. Like, I was not around. And then I kept getting these little tidbits about it. Like, I kept getting this little like, oh, this happened. So I'm a hothead. So I'd hear like 2 things and I would like light up like, well, let's do this, well, let's do that. And then Dad's like, no, there's a lot more to it. I remember we got on and we never actually got to release this video. Golly, I'm going to see if I can at least like post the clip or something. It was, I'm pretty sure, the best video maybe to date that Richard Sr. and I had been able to do. We just had some problems post-production with that thing, but I remember we're talking about it on that podcast, and I'm trying not to crack up a little bit, and Dad made a comment about that agent, and I just kind of like looked at my camera awkwardly, like like kind of give a little crappy nod to the agent without saying names and stuff like that. And I remember editing that thing and dying. I just sent it to everybody. I was like, well, we all know who's how we're talking about, what's going on. And I was like, I don't know if we can post this video anymore.
Yeah, I think the one thing I've realized, like, through this business, even only being in it 2 years, is that my morals are more important than a deal. My time is more important than a deal. And frankly, there's some decisions I've had to make where my wife's more important than a deal. And I am appreciative that I have learned that I'm now 24. This is just my birthday the other day. I'm now 24. And I have learned that at such a young age that more deals will always come. You always get more calls. There's always going to be more listings. And my first year, man, I was digging it, and I was going at it and going at it and going at it. And I was like, man, I've only sold just a little over 2 million my first year, which is going to seem like a lot to a lot of people. And that is a lot. But to me, it wasn't enough. But there was a moment where my wife said, well, look, either you're going to do this and go all in, but if you do it, there's some things in your life that you're going to have to prioritize. And I think by doing that and by prioritizing that, I have been able to close. I've 4 or 5x by now on last year as a second year realtor. And I really think it comes down to, one, you have the family there to support you and you have the team there to support you. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, putting your wife first, God first, and your family first over any deal, it does not matter. It doesn't matter if it's a $10,000 check. If my wife wants to go on a date, I'm going on a date with my wife. If they really want this house, we can write it tomorrow. And in my experience, they're okay with that. They'll write it the next morning. You do not have to stress out about getting it in there. Just call the agent. Hey, I have something coming up tomorrow. It's going to be the best offer you're going to get. And I've done that about 2 or 3 times in the last month, and instead went and hung out with my wife. And I think that's important in this business. And that's where all the funniness comes from, because you do experience a lot of things. But at least you can experience it and laugh about it with your team, your dad and your brother. It's a little bit easier on you than sometimes when you're around other agents, you hide a lot of your frustrations. But, when you're with dad or your brother, you can just say, this is exactly how it went and I'm mad. It doesn't change it, but it's nice to be able to say exactly what you're thinking.
Well, I'm proud of you guys for learning from all the different deals. And that's real. That's huge, because if you look at the deals, sometimes we don't hit it right. Like, we don't do the deal properly. Like we're not proud of the way that deal went. Maybe something didn't go right and we got aggravated. We lost our temper, or we didn't handle, maybe we forgot an important date. It could be simple things like that. But the thing I am proud of you both for is that you guys step back up, you put a smile on your face, you say, I'm sorry, you make things right, and you move forward. You don't just act like it didn't happen and then blame other people. And I appreciate you guys learning to take responsibility, changing our behavior or whatever it takes to make, to do the deal and move back into the game. Right. Because it is a fun game. I think we're in. I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people.
Yeah.
And we talked about your birthday thing you did for somebody the other day, Jeremiah. That kind of made me proud of you, of how you stepped out and you reached out to a client's child that hadn't even bought anything yet. And I think your heart, you have such a big heart for others. And I really appreciate that. And we appreciate seeing your heart in the business. And I appreciate seeing Big Rich, how he's always smiling, how he's always willing to shake somebody's hand, give them a hug, reach out to young people. You know, I texted you last night and you said, well, hey, I'm out with one of the kids from the youth group. You know, we're hanging out for a little bit. So I appreciate seeing how you guys have taken the time to care about others, and that makes me and your mom proud of you know how you guys do.
Well, hey, we love you guys. Jocelyn has her Mexican cleaning music on, so I have to sign off. But hey, we hope you guys enjoyed this little family podcast. We'll probably end up doing this quite a bit more and talk about some actual deals and stuff that we're working with, some situations that we're working through. And heck, maybe if you throw in the comments and let us know what you're dealing with, you can get a little three-way idea of how we would handle it separately and together. So maybe that'll give you a good idea of what to do and maybe sometimes what not to do in a situation. But hey, we appreciate you guys. We look forward to the next time we see you here at Creative Solutions.